What is going on, everyone? It's AP over here at Run Pure Sports. We're bringing you live for free the Strokes Gained PGA podcast. We're going to be breaking down the Mayakoba Classic after a week off of golf, unless you played the event over the pond. But first, before we get to my guys here and their plays and discussing everything, I gotta talk about a few premium promotions that we have going on right now. So our premium membership right now until NBA. So we got NBA is the 22nd. So, I mean, we got 3 weeks there. We're running a promo this entire period. Use the code BUCKETS15. It's going to get you 15% off for life. So that puts you at, if you do a membership on a monthly basis, that's putting you just under $70 a month. Some right around 67, 68. Give or take a couple dollars. Incredible deal. Just for that, you're going to have all of our content, NBA, NFL, what have you, everything, core plays, picks, every week. I mean, Showdown stuff. It gets you absolutely everything. The other thing we got to cover real quick, we just partnered with Monkey Knife Fight. Go over there right now, sign up, use the code RUNPURE. It's just RUNPURE all together. They're going to give you a match, 100% up to $50. So you put in 50, they give you 50. And if you're a premium member, we're gonna be dropping Monkey Knife Fight plays very consistently. Especially, you know, when NBA comes here, that's when I've absolutely smashed with Monkey Knife Fight. I'm going to be in there every day, dropping my favorite plays, and we're pushing it all through Discord. So we're not going to have content up on the site. We're going to do videos about it, and we're going to push the plays in Discord. So if you want to follow my plays, they'll be right there in Discord. So with that, let's dive into the Mayakoba Classic down in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. But first, I got to get to my guys before I forget about them. Uncle T and Rubio. Uncle T, let's start with you. How was your Thanksgiving? And you know, we were talking before this, and Uncle T's like, do we want to talk about the RSM Classic? Well, the RSM Classic absolutely destroyed me, but it didn't Uncle T. He crushed. So, Uncle T, the floor is yours. Talk to us about your week. How's Thanksgiving? Floor is yours.
Yeah, appreciate the intro, and it's always good to be back with you two guys talking golf, even though it was only a week. In between there, we had just obviously the Euro Tour, Alfred Dunhill Classic last week. It's good to be back on with you guys. I'm a big golf guy like you guys are, and even 1 week off, it kind of stunk. You know, we had the other sports to keep us busy, obviously, over at Run Pure Sports. But, yeah, it's a really good week for me a couple weeks ago at the RSM. My core plays were, did a real good job. I had actually, I think it was my second best week of the year, actually, in golf for me. Crushed it on FanDuel with the core. Trim Golly and Kisner were huge for me. Had way over the field weight-wise on those two guys. So, obviously, yeah, real good week, and did well on DK as well, but FanDuel is where I really did well. But, as far as Thanksgiving, everything went good. How that goes all the time. You got probably eat a little bit too much and, around family and friends. And it's always good to kind of get some Thanksgiving Day games. And I know the boys over on the NFL side did a great job with the Showdowns, BigT and, Hoopster and JSU, all those guys that, just crush out volume night after night. Like Big T said in the chat earlier, I believe, we don't take any days off. You know what I mean? While there's sports going on, we got it covered right now. So without getting too much into all that other stuff, it's a golf show. So that's all I got. Can't wait to get into breaking this slate down for you guys.
That's awesome. Rubio, how was your week, man? Your week off? What'd you do?
Ooh, actually my girlfriend got COVID, so I haven't been able to see her. Got able to be tested by COVID and, tested negative, and then just pulled out a lot of work on the retail floor, for Verizon. But otherwise, pretty good week. Thanksgiving was, fun despite the lack of people. And it's been, I can't wait for this week to start. The RSM Classic. I was not like Uncle T. I kind of got my ass kicked, but this week is a new one, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And we had a few family members get it as well, but they're all healthy and everything, so all is good. So yeah, let's dive in. We're at El Camilian Golf Club, which has hosted this since 2007. I'm pulling everything up right now. It plays as a par 71, just over 7,000 yards. The one thing that I took away when I was doing my research this week is traditionally this field has been really terrible, like really weak, and not really the case this year. So when you're looking at course history and you see all these terrible golfers popping course history wise, I would kind of temper your expectations there, because I feel like this field is pretty strong, and we got some big boys to talk about. JT, Brooks Koepka up top, Finau, etc. Outside of that, the only thing is the greens are going to be different, but honestly, my takeaway is it's actually easier to putt here. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that. Just from what I've looked at, it looks like the greens are a little bit more straightforward, and so what that might do is bring a bad putter into play. But let's get into this top range, and let's start with 10K and up. I think we got 5 guys in that range to talk about, and this is going to be a key. This stud range, in my opinion, is going to be key. So, Uncle T, talk to me about 10K and up.
Yeah, for me, on the 10K and up, yeah, and obviously you laid it out beautifully on your research and stuff for this week. But for me, I noticed that, you're really not going to need any bombers, obviously, this week, I don't think. I think hitting the fairways are going to be even more important than they normally are. Length isn't really that big of a deal. If you can hit it out there, fine. But I'm looking more at the probably second shots gained on approach. But that being said, it's just so hard to get away from the top guy this week, and that's Justin Thomas. Clearly, as you mentioned, some of these top guys haven't played here before, so you don't have any course history. But boy, when you look at Justin Thomas, he's got, 6 straight top 12 finishes on tour, finished 4th at the Masters, 8th at the U.S. Open. I'm not going to give anybody something here that they don't already know. AP, I know you and I are on board with him during the big tournaments, and we just love him as a golfer. So I think for me, the bigger question is, before I get into the rest of the guys in this range, is for me right now, and I think I'm going to do it for sure. I think I'm just locking in JT, and I'll give you some reasons why when we move down the board here as far as pricing. I think I'm going to lock in JT, and I don't like as many guys in that whole 9K and even upper 8K range. So for me, I think my builds may be fairly simple. So if Justin Thomas crushes, I'm going to mix and match with guys in that low 8K and live in the 7K range this week. So that being said, again, you still got Brooks Koepka, Finau, Berger, and English. Obviously, all proven golfers that are really solid, make a ton of cuts. Brooks Koepka is a guy that I was looking at initially as a possible pivot to Justin Thomas. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I think Brooks has got his stuff back figured out. He went through that stretch where it almost looked like he wasn't interested, as crazy as that sounds. He was playing in tournaments and didn't look like he was really focused, but 5th place finished a couple, 2 starts ago, 7th place finish at the Masters. So if you wanted to pivot off of Justin Thomas, who's going to be very chalky, I think Brooks Koepka is obviously a way, way under-owned compared to Justin Thomas. So if you wanted to go there, fine. I'm not going to do it. The only other guy I can think of maybe is possibly Harris English in this range. But again, for me, I'm going to probably stay with Justin Thomas. So I'll let Rubio get in.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of similar thoughts with you this week, as I do most weeks, Uncle T. Rubio, the 10K and up range, what's your thoughts? Are you looking at Harris English, Daniel Berger, or is it JT and move on?
I think I'm about to sound like a parrot if I tried to speak after Uncle T. I basically say almost the same things. Justin Thomas is my guy this week. It's really hard to make the case, for a guy like Finau, who honestly has poor course history here, and I can't stand paying 700 or 300 less than 2 absolute studs. Like, I'd be comfortable for Finau if it was like 9,500 or 10,000, not 10,700. And Koepka, my concerns with him are, will he take this event seriously? And it's not a bomber's course. So it's one of those things where it's like JT is just the best golfer in this event by far. We saw Webb Simpson get tons of ownership last time out, at a similar price tag. And I definitely think that's the case with Justin Thomas. I would have a little bit of interest in Harris English just because he's done well on this course in the past. And he seems, that he has that top 10, top 5 upside on not only at this course, but he's shown it throughout this season. To where if I'm going to save money at the top, it would be through English instead of JT, or maybe even a stack of both, but that'd be incredibly hard.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, first let's talk about some of these guys that I don't know if I can play. Brooks Koepka. I mean, you're down in Playa del Carmen. I mean, he's going to have his lady down there. She's going to be wearing, not very much. I don't think my guy is going to be focused on golf this week, guys. I mean, I wouldn't if I'm in his shoes. So with BK, I mean, yeah, his game's back, but I don't know. Like, I don't. This just doesn't seem like an event that he goes and crushes. I think for him, it's all about that first round. Now, if he comes out firing and shooting like a 65 or something like that, and gets into it early, I think he could get motivated. But if he comes out and just makes pars, misses some putts, I don't know. I think he's gonna. We need birdie makers, and he can make them. I mean, he's a major champion, obviously, and an absolute stud. Again, I worry about, is this going to be a vacation for him or a professional golf event? So then, and then I got to go back to my guy, and I agree with you guys, Justin Thomas. So there's one thing that really sticks out for me. What's held him back, if you want to look at his last like 5 events, it's gotten better recently. At the Masters it was good, but it was his putting. Like, his putting has been the weakest part of his game. His ball striking is the best in the field. His approach game is the best in the field. I mean, his play off the tee is solid. It's his putting. Now, if we look at these greens and we understand that, putting's generally a lot easier here. It's a birdie fest. We're going to see guys dropping putts all day. I think that benefits JT. I think he's going to have looks at birdies all day. So I'm with you guys. I'm considering like pressing the lock button on him and then fading BK, fading Tony Finau, fading Daniel Berger, and probably fading Harris English. I think if I lock JT in, I have to fade all of those guys, because I think to play 2 of them in one build, you're going to have to play like a low 6K guy or 2 6K guys. And I think you could get into some trouble in doing that. Now, Daniel Berger, he's fine. I just feel like he's a little overpriced. And Tony Finau, fine, but overpriced. Like, I don't like, we're paying, you got to pay an absolute premium for a guy with 1 PGA Tour win, whose form is okay coming in. It's a good like 8 to 9K player type form, not 10.7K. And so, that's kind of where I'm at this week. I feel very confident in Justin Thomas. I feel very confident that he's going to be focused for this event. And I think he's the odds-on favorite to win, and you got to love his upside here. So for me, I'm with you guys. It's JT and move on.
Yeah. AP, if I could interject real quick, and
yeah.
you bring up a good, some great points there as well. And again, we're not breaking news, but when I first saw the pricing, I was actually, and while this field is, pretty solid compared to what it's been in prior years, it's not stacked at the top, right? So when I saw Justin Thomas only at 11.4, it did kind of shock me, because I was thinking possibly that they could price him up where, you know what I mean? Maybe you'd give it a little bit more thought of possibly not playing him. I was thinking maybe 12 or 12.2, as crazy as that sounds, relative to the strength of the top tier guys. So when I saw him at 11.4, and then again, like you mentioned, you don't know what the situation is with Koepka, only $400 difference between him and Koepka. I'll take JT all day.
Yeah, I agree. So, I'll leave it at that. I think for me, it's JT and move on. Rubio. You got a 1 and 2 or
I mean, JT in English, I think that's almost the same for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, English is fine. You get like his recent form is really solid. All the other guys, there's slight question marks. So let's go down to this 9K range. Uncle T, I'm going to kick it over to you. Talk to me about the 9K range.
Yeah, the 9K range, while very interesting, I don't think I'm going to find myself too much in this range, to be honest with you. Some very good golfers. I like Abraham Answer as a golfer and how he's been playing the last couple months. He's got a couple top 10 finishes here in the last three times out, and he's been solid. There's nothing really bad to say about Abe Answer other than, he's $9,900. And like your point about Berger maybe being a little overpriced, And again, we always talk about it, but it's always relative to the strengths of these fields is where they get priced clearly. But I just feel like Abe, if he was around 9K or maybe 89, 9,100, I think I'd have a little bit more interest. So good golfer. Hovland, we haven't seen him in a few weeks. One of the guys that I think he's the leading consecutive cut maker currently on tour, or if he's not, he's up near the top. I know Rory's got a long one going, 16 straight cuts made on tour. No problems with Hovland at all. Ricky Fowler, absolutely not. I think we might all agree on him. I won't even let Rubio play him this week. But we go down. Yeah, I mean, Henley, Zalatoris, Neiman's an interesting one. He came off COVID a couple weeks ago, ended up playing the last tournament, finished 17th, which was, not bad. Corey Connors is a guy RPS has been on the last several weeks, and he's been crushing. But, again, do you want to get off when you don't want to pivot, one way when people are going a different direction and zig and zag or however they say it. But I'll be honest, I know that was a lot of just kind of this and that, but I really don't have any interest, and I probably won't have this range at all. So I don't really want to say a whole lot more about it and try to sell something that I'm not going to play.
Yeah, no, I like that. Rubio, what about you? Are you interested in this range, or is it kind of no man's land for you?
I have a few guys who I might look to target a little bit. I kind of like the Hovland call just because, 4 of his last 5 events he's played in have been top 20. So maybe the upside's a little bit there, kind of buy low, wait for him to get his top 5, that he hasn't had in a while. But, the form and stats can kind of back up that he's leading into it. Ricky Fowler did have a second place finish here 4 years ago, but no, I'm not playing him this week. He's going to be trying to make the Masters for next season, and I don't think he's going to be able to. It's kind of incredible how, one of the world's, most famous players is going to kind of fallen off and right in front of our eyes over the last couple of years. The RPS data table I like to use a little bit lately is, on the premium content. We have 2 guys here in the 9,000 range that are kind of popping at the top of the model, and that is Zalatoris and Russell Henley. Henley kind of missed the cut here last year. Kind of did, kind of didn't. No, but had a T29 here a couple of years ago as well. The thing about Zalatoris is this man's actually been like a top 10 machine as well. He got 5th in the Shriners, 8th in the Punta Cana, and 6th in the U.S. Open. That's just, not even stretching it to the other tour. But, I mean, he's really just been a true talent. And 9,200 with for him, with great upside, could be a nice little pairing with JT. Trying to think of anything else, any other case, and I kind of just like the Henley call too. You guys were on him last time. You guys always seem to be on him. So, a good bit of form as well, 29th, 4th, and the 3rd in his last 3 events that he's played. So I think there's a little bit of value down here, but definitely not something that you want to get carried away, in the 9,000 range.
I got you. Now, all right, you guys might make fun of me for that. All right, so I think this is important to bring up and talk about, okay? Ricky Fowler right now, like Rubio said, he could not make the Masters next year, which is just crazy to think about. He's sitting 49th in the world golf rankings. You need to be top 50. If you're top 50, the top 50 world golfers in the world, they will get in to the 2021 Masters, which is just in April, not too far away at all. It's going to be back to its normal time, I believe. And so here's I don't know, in tournaments, this dude has to be focused this week. I know his game is shaky right now, but if there's anyone in this field that needs to turn it on right now, it's Ricky Fowler. And he has, a T16 last year and a second place finish in 2018. I don't think he's going to be on the fade list for me this week unless someone else puts him on there. I don't.
What if his ladies down there with him, like Brooks's ladies with him down there? What if they're doing a little,
his lady,
it's possible.
She was like a pole vaulting champion. I mean, she's a 10 out of 10, but I think she's gonna have him focused, man. She's a champion. She wants him to be a champion. So I don't know. I don't like playing Ricky Fowler. I rarely ever do, but there are some cases to be made to play him this week. And maybe you pair him up with his boy, JT. We all like JT. So I'm not fading Ricky. I don't mind him. I'm not in love with it, but if you're a Ricky Fowler backer and you want to have fun with it this week, there's a case to be made to play him. Now, for me, I can't play Victor Hovland. He's consistent, but he's not giving us the top 10 upside that we need of late. It is almost 10K. And so it is what it is. I'll probably be off of him. I do have interest in Abe Answer. So, I mean, this is an event where he has elite course history. He's finished T8, T21, T9 over the last 3 years. And it's an event down in Mexico. He wants to win this, and he is in some of the best form that we've seen in quite some time. You got to feel like he's one of the guys that's coming in this week with some confidence and a ton of win equity. So I have interest in Abe Answer. Hovland, I'm off, like I said. Henley, like he's a good ball striker. It comes down to the putting. So the case we made with JT, I think you can make a similar case with Russell Henley. Now, I compare him to a Harris English. A lot of the stuff that they do is kind of similar. So if I wanted a discount, if I wanted some savings off of English, I think you could go with Henley. Neiman, I love playing Neiman, but I feel like he's slightly overpriced. He's not been getting it done with us. I'm kind of there with you guys on him. And I got interest in Corey Connors. We've been playing Corey Connors like we said, and it's his putter that always lets him down. Man, this dude is such a good ball striker. He's, his last few events, T10, T24, T8. If he can get his putt, and that's with bad putting. If he gets his putter going, he's going to win one of these events. So for me, if I got to rank him, I'm going to say Corey Connors 1. I'm going to say Abe Answer 2. And I'm going to say Ricky Fowler's interesting. I can't commit to playing him. I'm just going to say he's interesting this week. Uncle T, give me your 1 and 2s.
Yeah, out on Fowler for sure. Your points, you do bring up really good points, and so you're selling it pretty good. And I agree with you. He could very well play, good this week, Ricky. I'll just be out. And Answer, one quick note before I give you my plays here, or who I like there. But if I was to come off of JT, which I don't think I am, but if you wanted to come off and maybe almost fade the top 4 and start your teams with English or Answer, again, it's definitely not going to be the way a lot of people will go. So if you wanted to try to do that and hope that JT, has a bad week, or those guys at the top again are down there on a vacation and not, really focused, there's no problem with starting your lineups down a little bit. It just won't be for me this week. So that being said, I definitely like Answer as my top guy in the group. And I agree with you. I think I would stick with Corey Connors as my second guy as well. So I'd go Answer, Connors, 1-2 for me.
I like it. Rubio, 1 and 2.
Henley, Zalatoris.
I like it. All right, guys. Again, it's a free show tonight, so please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us. It allows us to keep some of these shows free, to bring you guys the content that you need, to #RunPeer. Again, we got a couple promos going on right now. From now until NBA, Buckets 15. It gets you 15% off for life, basically. Like it's on the price of the membership. So lock that in, get signed up, go do that right now. If you haven't, it's going to be available from now until NBA. And we absolutely smash NBA. I think we got the best team out there. JSU, Hoop, Mangone, myself. I'm in there grinding every day. We got shows every day, premium shows every day. And just a little bit about the product. Core plays for every sport. We got playbooks for every sport. We got videos for every sport. Showdown videos, Showdown playbooks, Showdown core plays. We got it all. And you can get it now for 15% off our normal price. I think it's a phenomenal deal. Let's move on to the 8K range. I'm going to kick it off. Uncle T, I'm going to kick it off to Rubio this time. Let's switch it up. Talk to me about the 8K range, Rubio. Where are you at? Who do you like? Who's going to win it in this range? I feel like the winner's coming from this range.
You feel like the winner's coming from this range? Who are you betting that is down here?
I mean, like the guy who is going to win you tournaments, not win the tournament, but I feel like this 8K range is what we got to figure out this week.
Well, I have 3 names that I kind of like, and I'm not really proud to say I like these 3 names, but they're not in bad form, but they're not great great players, I should say, just because, they seem to be on the cusp. Billy Horschel does have a T8 here last year and a T21, and also coming in a little bit of good form as well. I kind of like the Billy Horschel play, at 8,800, kind of checking what I'm looking for, great. He's been actually putting great of late, which I don't really associate Billy Horschel be a great putter. And he's been doing that lately. He's not the longest guy at the tee. So I think this course kind of will fit his eye. Brian Harmon has come. I think he has like 9 straight top 40s, but like no top 10s in that time. And this is a course that I think will kind of fit his eye, not being, it seems like every course that we talk about where it's like less than, big hitters and all that, I seem to think of Brian Harmon. Just he hasn't really shown the upside that we kind of need him to at the 8K price for tournaments. But I feel like it's coming at some point. A T15, a top 15 in any capacity for Brian Harmon is something that I'd gladly take at his price. Another player that I kind of want to mention as well is Charles Howell, simply because of course history. This guy has 8 top 20s in the last 10 years here. I know the course, the course stays the same, but the strength of field changes. And this strength of field is a lot tougher than it has been in previous years. But it is kind of eye-popping that he's played here, 10 consecutive years. Not only that, maybe even a little bit longer, but, I only stretch it back to 10 years. And 8 top 20s. It's pretty good. He missed a cut in the other 2 times. So you kind of, you're kind of weighing the good and the bad. But that's definitely something that popped off to my eye. The Grillo, he putted very, well last week, for the first time in forever. And also comes in with a couple top 10s here in the last 4 years and even a 15th. So if Grillo can kind of even keep up, even an average putting week, you can definitely see Grillo near the top of the leaderboard for 8,300.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, do we know, where's Billy Horschel in the World Golf Rankings? You have that up or no? The site's not pulling up for me right now.
I'll try to find it for you.
That out in chat. Drop the number where he's at. If he's outside looking in or something like that, I'm gonna have a lot
32.
32. Okay, he's in there.
Looks like it.
He's had a good year, so it wouldn't make sense for him to be outside of the top 50.
Yeah.
Uncle T, talk to me about this 8K range. Do you agree with me? Do you think the winner is going to come out of this range? The guy that helps you. I think there's a guy that could win in this range, but I feel like I know the guy that's going to help me win tournaments this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys in this range with good course history. So, as we work through these players in these different tiers, you really got to make a decision this week, I think, on how you're gonna do things in your thought process. Because I'm a course history guy. I'm a form guy. I'm not as much on the stats, and I shouldn't say I'm not at all, but I go on form, past history, current form. I base that a little bit more. But this week you have so many guys that have great course history. You mentioned it in your open. So many guys with really good course history, but are playing not good. You know what I mean? So you got to make a decision, and we're going to get to some of them as we get down towards that low 7K range that I'm going to talk about. But for me in this range, Brian Harmon, let's get this out in the open. Brian Harmon is 7K on FanDuel. That's a clear, complete mistake by FanDuel. So Brian Harmon at 7K mint price on FanDuel, you should have him in your teams. I'll have him on my teams on FanDuel. If he misses the cut and I play him at 7K, I'm okay with that. So I do want to mention that. I don't know what happened with FanDuel on that, but they completely missed it. But
Uncle T, in tournaments, it's a great point. But if you think of golf, it's one of the higher variant, especially in a birdie fest. I think there's a case to be made to fade him in tournaments because I think his ownership is going to be extremely high. I mean, what do you think on FanDuel? What do you think he'll be? 30, 40%?
No, I think he'll be more than that. Yeah, I think he'll be more than that. Again,
I think that's the easiest fade in the world in tournaments. It's golf. Any of these guys can miss the cut.
Right. But see, I'm usually a 3 to 5 lineup guy. So again, this where I don't play 20 lineups, 30 lineups a week. So I'm playing 3 to 5 lineups for me personally. I'm not a cash guy, even though I know that's a lock cash play probably for Hoop and the guys that play cash. And you're right on your points. But for me, I'll just get all the way over the weight on the field and I'll play them in every lineup. So you can look at that 2 ways. You're exactly right in tournaments, you make a case to fade him, but say you fade him at 7K and he finishes 12th. Can you win? You're going to have to really match your teams pretty good. If you fade a 7K guy that clearly has top 15 upside, he's the 18th ranked golfer in the field as far as price. So again, it just depends on which way you want to go. I definitely agree with your thoughts on fade in the tournaments if you want to try to go that way. But for me, I'm just going to take my chances. If he does miss the cut, I'll gladly move on FanDuel to the next week. But yeah, as I go and start on this range, Carlos Ortiz at the top, 8,900. His last outing, he won at the Houston Open, hasn't played since then. Finished runner-up here last year. I don't mind Carlos Ortiz, even though the price feels inflated. Don't mind a little bit of him. I like your all's Horschel call, but I think, again, based off of my build, I'm not going to be able to live too much in this high 8K range. So as you go down a little bit further, we're all been on Sebastian Munoz quite a while now. Not great course history here. I think a couple missed cuts the last 2 events, missed a cut last week. So, maybe Sebastian Munoz is cool just a little bit. So I'll be off of him. I like the last 3 guys in the range. I love the Charles Howell call. Great course history, steady, probably will make the cut for you. You're trying to get 6 of 6 through. Charles Howell, you can do worse at 8,100. But my main 2 guys are down at the bottom, Joel Damon and Patton Kizzire. Just looking at the research and again, past history, form, current form. I don't know how you can go wrong with either one of these 2 guys. And JP, to your point a moment ago, I very well could see Damon or Kizzire. If it's not JT, I could see one of them 2 guys sneaking up in that top 5 or maybe a top 10 for sure on Sunday to help our teams get near, near the top of these leaderboards. So for me, I like a little bit of Ortiz, but I'm mainly looking at towards the bottom of the 8K range with Howell, Damon, and Kizzire.
No, I like that. And no, I mean, your thought process is 100% right on Harmon. I think for me, it would come down to the field size. If it was 150 max, like 30,000 people in the tournament, and you're building 5 lineups, I think you fade Brian Harmon. You're going to get, that's one way to get leverage on guys that are putting in 150 lineups. And if you're doing 150, put them in all 150 if that's the way you want to go. Like, get extremely, do one or the other. Don't like flip flop and like be in line with the field. That's the dumbest thing ever. Don't do that.
I'll be all the way in is what I'm saying. You're exactly right. I'll be 100% on him.
So I got a guy I think I'm going to be 100% on this week. I just feel maybe he's going to be popular too. He's outside of JT. I think he's one of the best ball strikers in this field. His putter sucks. But again, we talk about it, these greens. I think these greens are just a little bit easier, that it's going to help some of these guys that suck at putting, like Emiliano Grillo. We talk like this dude, not a good putter. He has phenomenal course history here. Just pulling it up right now. I mean, 4 years in a row, made the cut every year, 15th, 9th, 10th, and then last year he was 40th or 41st. And then he's bringing in a really good form. I like where his game's at. It's just the putter that's letting him down. So if these greens are more favorable for him, 8,300, I feel very confident. I think that he's going to get us a top 10 this week. Maybe show some top 5 upside. But he's going to be my guy. I think I'm going to, flag planet, go all in, 8,300. Grillo. I mean, I'm hit or miss on these calls sometimes. I definitely feel very confident about Grillo, though, with where his game's at. The guy I'm kind of torn on is Sebastian Munoz, our boy. This guy has done very well for us this year. I mean, he looked so good at the Masters, and he's been printing, but his price is up. Like, we were playing this guy when he was in the 6K range and then the low 7K range. And then he was all the way up to like mid 9K last or 2 weeks ago. I'm kind of torn on him here. I don't hate it. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. I think, his course history does suck, which is surprising. But his game is the best it's ever been. So I think you could just throw the course history out the window and play this guy if you want to play him. I'm not playing Mark Leishman. I'm not playing Brendan Todd. I'm not playing Carlos Ortiz coming off the win. I don't really have like a reason for it. I just feel like after a win, the first tournament back for a player, unless they're Dustin Johnson, they typically like underwhelm, I just think they're still excited about winning, and they're probably not as focused on this event. I mean, think about like anytime I've won like some big money playing DFS, my next few days, I'm usually not like in the zone playing as good as I should. I'm usually, kind of throwing money around a little bit, having fun.
At the workbench.
Hitting the work. I'm not focused on printing like I should be. So for me in this range, I'm locking in Grillo. I'm torn on Munoz, and I'm kind of torn on Billy Horschel too. So for me, Griot's my guy, and I'm kind of moving on for right now. But he's the guy that I think is going to be the difference maker. I do want to say I do like the Joel Damon call. He was another guy I have starred and circled. And I'm not exactly, so for me, it's going to come down to roster construction. But Uncle T, what's your 1 and 2?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Joel Damon, number 1. And again, Charles Howe, 3 sticks, however they call him, Chucky, 3 sticks. Yep. I do like Patton Kizzire again, though. And I'm not usually on that train. And it feels like he's overpriced at 8K, but again, he's been doing really well at 10th, at 11th, at 20. He's got 3 straight top 25s. And, he's won it here a couple years ago. But for me, Damon and Howe, and everybody, if you could go out and hit that like button, we'd appreciate it.
Yes,
helps us push this content out and get these shows to you guys. So appreciate it if you guys could do that.
Kizzire is a phenomenal putter. I mean, this dude putts lights out and his ball striking is getting better. I like that call, and he's going to be under 10%. I don't think people are going to play Kizzire at 8K at all. I mean, this is a dude that was not too long ago was like 6,500. So again, for me, I'm kind of a sell high on him. When I think about it from a stock perspective, that's kind of how I like to look at these guys. I kind of am selling high, but I don't mind it, especially in tournaments. Rubio, what's your 1 and 2?
I got Horschel and Harmon.
Horschel and Harmon. Again, so hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening right now, tomorrow, make note, we got a free show for the Ravens game for the Showdown slate. I think it's a big, I think there's a milli maker, or maybe it's $500,000 to first, but some of those contests are just massive. And we're going to have a free show for that tomorrow. Again, I got to just say it one more time, Buckets 15% off. We got that code running now through NBA, which is December 22nd. I can't wait. It's going to be, I mean, if I start talking about NBA right now, I'm going to get sidetracked and we're going to get off golf real fast because NBA is an absolute print fest. So before we get sidetracked, let's get to the 6K or 7K range. Let's break it up like we normally do. Let's say 7.5 to 7.9. And Rubio, I'm gonna take it to you. Talk to me about this range.
Well, the first name that I want to talk about is the one that's 7,900. His name's Scott Piercy. 3 of 4, finishes in the top 20, 4 of 4 in the top 35. So I think Piercy's coming in with good form, and also has a pair of top 6s in the last 4 years here, where he's only played the event 3 times. Piercy is always a guy who stands out to me, as a good ball striker and someone who can take advantage, of a course where length is not imperative. So I definitely like to play at 7,900. Noren is probably one of the most frustrating guys ever because I can never seem to get him right, but I'm always seemingly on him. He's gone 17th, 76th, 17th, 103rd, and 18th. It is actually kind of frustrating because I always think of him as a guy who can thrive on this type of course, and sometimes he just pops in with a terrible performance or a great performance. I don't know how to gauge him, but I love him for tournaments because I do think he has top 10 upside. At under 8K, I think he's a great golfer, and I think with the others priced around him, I just think Noren's significantly better than a lot of these names. So I definitely like him for tournaments. Russell Knox has, coming in with a pair of good events under his name, and as well as with great course history for Knox. I believe he has, 3 top 10s here in the last 5 events or something like that. So Russell Knox is definitely something that pops off the page because of course history as well as current form, where he's played well the past couple times. It's really kind of hard for me to get into the other names other than Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka, did get a 5th at the Houston Open, and he also pops off in the RPS player data table. He popped off then, and so that's someone who I kind of like to trust. Straka, the Austrian, has done very well, and he actually rates well again this week too. So I think I'll be over the Austrian too for 7,600.
Oh, I like that. I think this range is just really interesting. Uncle T, where are you at it? Do you agree with Rubio on some of those plays? Disagree? Who do you like?
Yeah, this is a good range for me because, again, I'm going to be building my teams with Justin Thomas up top. So, obviously, I'm going to try to live in this range like we talked about it in the Open. I will say this about Rubio. Rubio has a man crush on the European guys. I know a couple weeks back he was picking all Euro guys, and I don't know how it turned out. I can't remember. But
it was my best lineup. If that says anything, it was my best lineup. That was a pretty bad week. I threw 20 in, and, yeah, it was bad.
I don't know if he's got like some kind of sponsorship or something where he gets a little bit extra on these shows to where if he mentions the Euro guys a little extra, he gets a little bump. I don't know, but no, I don't have a problem with Norn. Piercy is a guy I do like as well for the points that you mentioned, but one of the guys I like probably he'll probably be one of the more popular ones in this range for sure is Harold Varner III. He's a little bit boomer bust, but he's a perfect tournament guy. Like I like to play. You know, again, I don't play much cash games at all. I'm more of a tournament guy. He's been up and down. He has a 15th, a miscut, a 13th. You know, you just don't know what he's going to do. But he's got pretty good course history here. A couple top 6 finishes. I like me some Harold Varner this week. I agree with you on the Russell Knox call. I was on him a couple weeks back on one of my builds with in the RSM and. He let me down and missed the cut, but I'm willing to forgive it. He had a couple of top 20s prior to that. You mentioned laid it out as far as the course history for Russell Knox, so I don't have a problem with him. As we go down, a guy that I like to typically target on the no driver courses, or you don't have to have driver courses, or is Trez Reavie. He's been awful, in terrible form, but he's a guy I usually like because he usually hits fairways, pretty good with his irons, and he can get streaky with his putter, but I just can't get on board. And he's got a pretty good course history, but I just can't get on board. He's been so bad. And then Rory Sabatini, I have a little bit of interest in. Has played here quite a few times. Never really finished very high, but again, at 7,600, I don't mind him. And the last guy I'll talk about is Kevin Streelman. He's a guy, too, that RPS has kind of been on board for the most of latter part of this year. Again, an up and down guy. When we get down into this range from where we're at and to the end of the show, we're going to be talking about guys that, they're down there for a reason. So Streelman, I don't mind him as well.
Yeah. One mention on Trez Reavie, just to help your case a little bit, Uncle T. He's 54th right now in the world rankings. So he's got some extra motivation. He's not a long hitter. He's a solid golfer, though. Good off the tee. I like the analysis there. The only problem for me with him is his putter sucks, but we talk about it. This is a course where I think you can play bad putters. And I think you guys are going to make fun of me again because some of the guys I've starred. I feel I feel good about this, though. One of them's Keegan Bradley. Again, this theme. I'm going with it. Putting matters, but I think here it might not matter as much. I hope I'm right. But man, if I'm not, a guy like Keegan Bradley is such a good ball striker. He ranks 3rd on approach, 2nd overall ball striking. He's going to put himself into position to make birdies. And, if these greens are pretty straightforward, he's a professional. I think he's gonna make them. Same could be said with Benny On. Benny On's gonna be not owned at all. I think he's gonna be like 2% owned because he's not been good. Again, a little bit of time off, working on. He missed the cut at the Masters. This is a guy that's going to turn it around at some point. This is an event that I think he has to take advantage of. I think he's going to be a leverage play that I hop on. Because he's a guy that has top 10 upside in these birdie fests. He's another guy that can string birdies together like the best of them. So it's a gross play. I know it's definitely one that's like we could be tilting right away in chat. And some people probably will if they tell me with it. But at the same time, he's one of those guys that could post the top 10 and rack up a ton of birdies and could be what we need this week. One guy like Adam Long is a guy that I don't play him very much, but man, he's been playing really well. His ball striking looks good. His putting looks good. My thing with like guys like that, like guys that I'm not playing too often is whenever I hop on, then it's like they miss the cut and I tilt and I'm like, well, why the hell did I hop on? And so with Adam Long, here's my thing. If you've been playing him, keep playing him. He's playing phenomenal golf. I think if he fits into your build, I think he's a safe play. I think you go him or Varner. And then I think, from a tournament standpoint, I think maybe you go Keegan Bradley. He should be lower owned than the other two. And then if you want a deep tournament play, it's Benny On. That's kind of how I'm approaching this range. The other guy that you guys mentioned, Russell Knox. He tilted me so hard. I talked him up at the RSM Classic. And what let me down was his ball striking, which that's why I was playing him. His ball striking was absolutely terrible. His approach game was terrible. His putting was terrible. His course history here is fine. So I think he's going to be popular this week. I think he's going to land in the 12 to 13% range possibly. And so I might end up under, and that's where I keep talking myself into this crazy Benny on play. I mean, Uncle T, I mean, is Benny on your radar at all?
No, he's not. He's not. But again, you lay out good points. I mean, again, if he's a tournament play for you at 2% owned, yeah, I mean, he gets on them streaks. I think he worries more about Twitter half the time than he's out on Twitter. Sure. When he gets off the putting range before he gets to the first tee, I think he goes out and sends a couple tweets out. But anyway, I was on a lot during the spring and summer and after the restart, and he just hasn't done anything. So until I see some form, I'm going to be out. But I wanted to mention one other guy, and I mentioned him, but the narrative as far as the top 50 in the world, I think Kevin Streelman's sitting at 52 right now. So your point on Reavie, I think he's 54. We mentioned it earlier about Fowler. Maybe Streelman has a little bit more motivation this week as well to stay in that top or to get into that top 50 at 7,500.
Yeah, I like that. And again, in this range, like I think a guy like Sepp Straka could feel safer, but again, it's another range where I want to get some leverage. And so for me, I'm gonna say this could come back to bite me. But again, I'm playing tournaments this week. I want a leverage play with upside. I want a leverage play with a guy who can make a ton of birdies. I'm going to play these guys in Showdown format as well. And honestly, if I move off of Benny on, he's going to be my Showdown guy on the first two slates, just because he can put together birdies with the best of them. But I'm going to say Keegan and then Benny on, my 1 and 2, as crazy as it sounds. But I feel good about it. I like the leverage that I'm going to get. Uncle T, what's your 1 and 2?
Yeah, I like Benny on in a a Showdown format a lot better. Again, you only got the 2 days before you see who makes the cut, but I do like him more in a Showdown format. But for me, it'll be Harold Varner first and Kevin Streelman second.
I like it. Rubio 1 and 2.
Peterson and Straka.
See, yeah, I think if you're, if you want to say a guy that could, feel safe, I mean, Straka, but again, I don't think anyone in this range is safe. That's kind of my point. And kind of why I like Benny on. I mean, all right, let's go down to this next, the other, the lower half of the 7K range, 7.5 to 7. Uncle T, talk to me about this range. Who's gonna print for us this week?
Yeah, this range, it starts and ends with Denny McCarthy. It's a guy that if you watch these shows the last few weeks with us, and also the Showdowns as well, because we have our Showdowns with me and Schneider. AP does them. I can't think of the other people that do them. Maybe Mangone. I played Denny McCarthy a lot in Showdown as well because I think he's one of the best putters on tour. But I'm going to start right there with Denny McCarthy. He missed the cut last time out, which is a good thing. That might keep his ownership down there a little bit, but he will still be owned. I got him around 12% right now, which is kind of high, but hits a lot of fairways. Again, there's nothing to not like. He's fairly safe as far as making cuts. So I like Denny McCarthy quite a bit as we go down. The Gim Reaper, Mr. Gim, Doug Gim. I know we played him a little bit in the RSM and treated as well with a 14th place finish, I believe it was, 18th place finish. So did really well. Don't mind going back to him at 7,400. Aaron Wise is a guy that I'm kind of don't know which way I want to go with him. Missed the cut last time out, 11th place finish before that, but he's got the ability, but I think I might pass. Peter Malnati, he's a guy that a lot of people don't like to click his name, but he's quietly having himself, a nice fall swing, if you will. Doesn't really have anything really good here other than a 10th place finish about 4 or 5 years ago. So nothing recent. And then one of the guys I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if anyone has as good a course history as Pat Perez. He's got a win here, at 8th and a 6th the last 4 years. But you talk about a guy coming in ice cold. He's missed 5 straight cuts. So for me, there's a lot of these guys that are like that this week. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go on the course history. I don't think it means as much as current form. So I'll pass on him. And then as we go down a little bit, Bryce Garnett's another guy. probably for the same reasons as Pat Perez, good course history, but it's just been in awful form. I don't think I'm going to go there. So for me at the top, it's probably going to be McCarthy, Gim, and maybe Peter Malnati. And I'll let you guys maybe try to sell me on a couple of these other low 7K guys.
I love Gim Reaper this week. And the other reason I love him is a message I got from Coop earlier today. He was trying to talk me off him, that it'll be too chalky. Everyone's talking him up. I'll wait to say my piece on him. Rubio, talk to me about this range, man. Where you at?
It's a range, that's for one thing. John Huh is a former winner here at 7,400, but probably doesn't fit your build, AP. You know, he's actually a good putter of late, but you kind of want the poor form putters, guys.
Give me all the crappy putters.
Exactly. You want the crappy putters. And I have to say, I'm actually kind of a fan this week, and I'll get to a guy down here too I like. I do want to mention the Gim call just because, you know, we all know Gim has a ton of talent. He's just starting to put it together. 7,400. I definitely think we can finally see a top 10 from Doug Gim. But the name I really want to mention here, other than Ollie Schneiderjane, so I'll get to after him, but Kyle Stanley. He's a guy who I know many people have an opinion on Kyle Stanley just because of how much he's impacted people. You know, I have a favorable opinion of Kyle Stanley. Like, I love Kyle Stanley. He was actually one of the part of my, top 3 biggest wins in PGA. So I like him. And I know the form's not good, but the putting's worse. But he always has
bad putter. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. A bad putter. And I know AP is all over that. And I think this is a week, you know, he kind of checks out in other statistics where you can kind of buy low on Kyle Stanley. He kind of has that random pop-offs. And if there's someone I hate to just sell it on him. I sell a dream. But, you know, his ball striking is still there. He's still a pretty good scorer. And, you know, if the putting improves a little bit, thinking top 20 this week. The last name I want to mention in the 7K range is Ollie Schneiderjane.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you know, it's on brand. It's everything else in between. There's no real rhyme or reason other than him being my favorite player. But actually, he's not a great putter. And the putter actually really helped him get that top 3 or that 3rd place finish. You know, a couple events ago they played on the PGA Tour. And, you know, he's always been a pretty good ball striker, a less than driver type of guy, you know, because he can't control the driver at all. So I definitely like him at 7,100, but I can say that any week for anything. I'll try and make the case for him every time. So, but yeah, that's about it for me on the 7K. Yeah,
a lot of good mentions there. I just got some concerns with guys like Bryce Garnett, who are course history monsters. Same could be said with Pat Perez. You know, when people look at the course history there, look, that's what I'm talking about. Like, usually this field is really weak, so there's a reason why these crappy golfers kind of do well. And so for me, I kind of want to move off of those guys. I get it though. Like, Bryce Garnett he's better on these short courses. He's going to be able to find his way around the course. He's going to put himself into position. And so I fully get it. I want to kind of fade that though, just because I think this field is a lot stronger. For me, I like a bunch of those calls. Doug Gim, this is a dude that's just, I think he's one of the better golfers in this field. And I think, you know, Uncle T said it best. He's just coming into form right now. We're starting to see what he can do. And he hasn't even been putting very good. I'm looking at it right now. But still, he's coming off a T18, T14, T23, missed a cut, and then a T14, and he's 7,400. And he's a great ball striker, good on these shorter courses, very good off the tee, very good on approach. And he knows where to hit it too on approach, which is important, to give himself a good look at birdie. And so I think the putter's going to show up. I think he's going to give us another a nice result this week. So I know he's going to be kind of popular, but I'm going to be overweight on him because, look, I'm going to get leverage elsewhere. I talked about some crazy plays like Benny On. No one's going to own him. So that's how I'm going to get leverage this week. I think Peter Malnati is a good mention as well. He's a guy we've been on. Form is phenomenal. T48, T21, 5th, 2nd. He hasn't missed a cut in forever, it seems like. He's got some course history here. It isn't the best. But I don't mind him. And then, Denny McCarthy, he's the other guy that I'm looking at as well in this range. And he just, I don't know, outside of last week, or 2 weeks ago, the cut at the RSM, He's been treating us really well. I think he bounces back. He talks about it all the time. You know, he loves where his game's at right now. So you get a kid that's really optimistic like that, has a good mindset. This is a perfect bounce back spot for him. So the miscut, what that's going to do, I think, is just maybe lower ownership. Imagine if he made the cut, last week and he was 7,400 this week, he'd be massive chalk. So for me, I'm looking real quick. Maverick McNeely, Snyder will be on him. I don't know if I can't. He's a good putter, but that's about it. I can't play good putters this week. We already talked about that. So for me, it's Doug Gim 1, and then I got to go back to our boy Denny McCarthy. I think he's going to be lower owned coming off in this cut. I think he bounces back and gives us maybe like a top 25, which is what you need at 7,400. Uncle T.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. I think McCarthy could have easily been 77, 78, 7,900 in this field, and I might have liked him even more if he was priced up even more than it is now. So for me, it would be McCarthy 1 and Gim 2 in that range.
I like it. Rubio.
I think I'm going to do it. Doug Gim number 1 and Kyle Stanley number 2. And I kind of want to run a contest myself. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I want to give my own money away. If Kyle Stanley does not get a top 20 this week, and anyone who's welcome to join and who's in the 39 watching right now, all you have to do is put the winning score. If Kyle Stanley does not get a top 20 and you're the closest one to a winning score, I will give a Millie Maker ticket for the Showdown on Monday. It's like $15 probably. So just want to put that out there.
Book it. Can I do that too?
Do it.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna say 22 under. I think it's Birdie Fest this week, right? All right, let's dive into the sub 7K range, the 6K range. Uncle T, let's open it up with you.
Yeah, usually this is a range where we get to and everybody's, we're trying to dumpster dive a little bit but we're able to usually find a handful of guys that we can definitely play. This week, not so much for Uncle T. I just can't find a ton of guys down here. Just a couple guys to mention. That could be possible plays. Rafa Cabrera Bello at 6,900. No course history here, but he's got a guy that's been on tour quite a while, and I could see him playing well there first time out. Adam Shank's a guy that makes a lot of cuts. Missed one, I think it broke 2 tournaments ago. Broke maybe 11 or 12 cut streak. Adam Shank's a guy that will probably make the cut. Don't mind him. And then as we go down, a guy that was on a little bit when he was hot, Christopher Ventura. I've gotten off of him recently because he's just been in such bad form. But, possibly Tyler Duncan. AP, you and I have played him down there at 63, 6,400 in bigger fields. He's up to 6,900. He's a guy that you could probably play, but he's missed 3 of his last 4 or 4 of his last 6. I don't think I can play him either. But, again, I'm not playing many guys in this range, so I'll cut it off at that. I'm going to be living in that probably 7K range a lot with all my builds, so I'll leave it at that.
That's fair. Rubio, where are you at?
This is I don't like this range one bit, but I think I'm going to go to target some talent like Ventura or Zhang just a bit. Guys who have shown that they have top 10 upside, down here where if I do decide to mix it up with the studs, but I'm going to try and avoid this range. Maybe Wesley Bryan too at 6,600, just because Wesley Bryan, as long as the driver's out of his hand for the most part, he's a reputable golfer. So I'll definitely take a chance at him at 6,600, but you guys were on Nate Lashley last time, and he ended up making the cut. Got like a T37 in the RSM Classic. So if you do want another cheap option, 6,500. But other than that, it's pretty bare.
Yeah. So here's my take on this range. If I'm locking in Justin Thomas, I feel like I need one pump play to do it for me, and Wesley Bryan might be that guy. 6,600. He has a T42 and a cut. I played here in 17 and 19. I don't hate where his game's at right now. I know he missed the cut at the Bermuda, T12 at Sanderson Farms, T31, T40, 6,600. And I like, his approach game. That's kind of what I like. And he hasn't been good putting. And so he kind of fits that mold that we talk about. And, I'm looking through here again. Max Homa is another guy I have starred. And this is a guy that he's kind of hard to, like, he can be really bad or he can be really good. He just is really low price. No one's going to play him. He's a winner on tour, and it just seems like this is a course that he could take advantage of. And so I might have a sprinkle of him. I'm looking at – I was just laughing right now because I'm looking at ownership projections, and I didn't look at them before I started my players and circled them, whatever you want to call it. He's projected to be 1% owned. And so, yeah, I mean, it kind of fits that mold that I've been talking about. Again, I agree with you guys. I think this range is kind of slim, but I'm going to limit it to like one guy in my build. And right now it's like, I have another guy starred, Brian Stewart. I think the cash guys might go to him just because there's some consistency here with his history at this place. He's good off the tee. He's fine on approach. Those are reasons why I think that he, if someone's punting in their cash builds, why they might play him. But again, it gets really thin. I'm just trying to make sure I hit on all my guys in this range. Nate Lashley, yeah, we were on him. The thing I like about Nate Lashley is he's a good ball striker. He's good on approach. And so, again, if I like my build, I could definitely click his name in a tournament. I don't think anyone's going to play him at all. He's going to be another 1% guy. Another guy who's going to be 1% who, man, it doesn't look good on the surface, but Bronson Burgoon coming off a T15. This is a guy that randomly pops. He'll miss like 10 cuts in a row, and then he'll make a cut, and he'll make like 3 or 4 in a row. Then he'll miss 10 to 15 in a row again. And maybe now is a time to take a shot on him. I'm just kind of thinking about roster construction. I know if I'm locking in JT, I need to find out who's the guy that's going to do good for me down in this range to make that build path work. I'll definitely have it in my core play notes come Wednesday, come tomorrow, with where I end up. But for now, it's Burgoon kind of. I think Wesley Bryan is my number 1 in this range, and then as painful as it sounds, I think Max Homa is going to be my number 2, and I don't think anyone's going to play him. But I think his talent is better than the guys that are in this range. And so that's my 1 and 2. Uncle T, 1 and 2.
On mute. Yeah, I totally agree with you on Wesley Bryan. I actually had him at the bottom of my sheet here and forgot to mention him. I do like Wesley Bryan a little bit. So for me in this range, I like me some RCB this week. Again, hasn't played the course at all. Finishing up the year, hasn't had the greatest, fall or last 6 months, actually, RCB, but he's a proven, good player on tour. And I think he might go down there and play well this week. So I'd say RCB and then Wesley Bryan for my 2 guys.
I like it. Rubio, what's your 1 and 2 down here? Or 1 if you only have 1?
Well, I think we can go ahead and put Wesley Bryan at the top and then Jung at number 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's start to, we got to talk about our winners, then we'll wrap this up. Here's how we always do it. We give our 2. And 1, it doesn't matter what the price is. It could be the boring pick. It could be JT. And then we gotta have a long shot, a guy that no one else is thinking about. So Uncle T, who are your 2 potential winners?
Yeah, one last thing I don't think anybody mentioned it, but there's no shot link this week. So I always look at that shot link. I don't know. It just feels like it's not as easy and as fun as sweat, I guess, if you will, when you don't have shot link. So I think all these courses down there, you don't have shot link. So we'll have to rely on other things this week. But for me, I'm going to have a hard time coming off Justin Thomas up top. So I know it's chalk. I usually don't do that. But I'm going to say Justin Thomas. And actually, guys, I think he could win this if he gets on a roll Thursday and gets off to a good start. I think he could win this going away by 3 or 4. And then my longer shot, guys, he's down there at 80 to 1. I've got him at currently. Kevin Streelman. I think the Streel Daddy is going to play well this week on a week where, again, he's trying to break into that top 50 to end the year to get a Masters invite for 2021. So JT and Streel Daddy.
I like it. Rubio.
Uncle T always picks the chalk on winners, man. Oh my!
I never do. What do you mean?
You always give me a hard time for picking chalk, and since everyone's going Justin Thomas, I mean, how can I be different? But I can't be different. Justin Thomas is the guy who's going to win this week. He's going to win running away. I think he could even set some standards on this course, but it's really hard to go away from him. And I think my dark horse, I have to go a European guy since I got called out for it. So I think I got to go Sepp Straka. He gets his win this week as a long shot here.
I think I'm throwing a curveball this week. It'd be way too easy, even for my easy pick. It'd be way too easy for me to say Justin Thomas. I'm going to say Emiliano Grillo. I think he's going to be my guy. My long shot's going to be Doug Gim. So that's my 1 and 2. With that, all right, guys, a few last things before we wrap up. Tomorrow we got the Showdown live video. I think Mangone and Hoop and Big T might be on it. I don't know if that's usually what the lineup is. And then also we got Monkey Knife Fight partnership. We're going to have some plays, probably PGA, NFL plays for this week. Again, use the code RUNPEER. You can get 100% match up to $50 when doing that. And we actually have a meeting that we're doing tomorrow night to talk about strategy, because here's how we look at it. We look at it as Run Peer against Monkey Knife Fight. So we want to absolutely do as much as we can to take all the money from them that we can. So, hey, with that, boys, let's head out and let's smash this week. Green screens all around.